Fanatec is back. They finally released the Podium DD, which has been hinted for years. So Fanatec sent this for review. I also have an affiliate link with them if you want to help the channel out, and all opinions, as always, are my own. In some ways, this was a very easy and straightforward review to make. In other ways, it was a little more complicated. But let's go to the price first. This is a PC wheelbase with Xbox compatibility if you have the correct steering wheel. It has 25 Newton meters and 33 Newton meters overshoot. The price is 1,100 euros or 1,200 US dollars, which is well within the margin or the average of whatever it is out there, except with the Mazda, which is, well, much cheaper. VNM is roughly the same price for the same power. You have also the Asetek Invicta, a little more power, but it's more expensive. And then you have the SemiCube 2s and SemiCube 3s, which will also be more expensive for the torque. It's smack bang in the averages, and also it's cheaper than the Podium DD2, so I guess that's an improvement as well. But before going to the rest of the review, a big thank you to you all, viewers, members, and subscribers, for helping the channel out and making all of this a possibility. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers this year. Hopefully it is this year. And if you enjoy reviews like this and other videos of the type, press like and subscribe. That helps a lot. Thank you so much. As you know, the last few years have been a right mess at Fanatec. A lot of the products were delayed around 2 years, including the Podium line of wheelbases and the Podium line of pedals. The pedals and wheelbases were shown initially in Sim Racing Expo 2025. As of this moment, you can pick up the Podium wheelbase. The Podium pedals, they will be released later on this year, maybe in a few months. So what we have here is the wheelbase, the Podium DD, that I've been testing for almost a month. This is a complete change in format from the old Podium DD ones in Podium DD2s, and honestly, a generational leap. The unboxing is like the Podium DD1. It comes secure in box with the lock system. You undo the locks, lift the cover. Inside there's a wheelbase, a 10 centimeter extension shaft, and the 480 watt power supply with the generic design pretty much everyone has. Maybe one day everyone will start standardizing this stuff instead of having like 30 or 40 different power supplies. I said that in some ways this was one of the easiest and simplest reviews to do, because honestly it is what it is in terms of format is an elongated Club Sport DD Plus that I've been using for 2 years, which itself is already an elongated version of a CSLDD slash GT DD Pro. And that includes a lot of things are exactly the same. So that includes the mounting points, that includes the inputs and outputs that will be in the back of the wheelbase. There are differences in construction between the Podium and the Club Sport and also the CSL lines, but the crux of it is very similar. So it's an extruded aluminum design, but with the difference that the front and the back are made now of aluminum for better heat dissipation. The connectors on the back are exactly the same as the Club Sport DD, but the differences will also be on the inside, where they made a huge upgrade to the heat sinks, to the steering shaft. Everything now is made of aluminum. The PCB is directly connected also to heat sinks to make sure that it doesn't overheat. There's also a difference in terms of the power button, which is more clicky and with less wobbly. Complete game changer, I believe. Unfortunately, at this price point, there's no pass-through USB, there's no slip ring or the sorts. If you want to use third-party wheels, you need to get either an emulator, you need to buy the Podium Quick Release, or you can use, like I'm using at the moment, which is the SemiCube Quick Release Ultra that has everything connected. You just connect it over there with your wheel. That's why you're seeing in the background some of the B-roll with the GSI. If you want to get some of this SemiCube's quick releases, the link will be in the description as well. The quick release, in my opinion, it has been hugely improved from the Club Sport DD. My unit has had always since the beginning a sticky quick release, and this one is actually pretty smooth. The whole unit is the heat sink, and it is quite massive. It doesn't make a sound at all. The interiors are all made of aluminum now for dissipation, and also for the torque controlling. The input output on the back, they're very standard. And also what is the standard is the way you install this wheelbase. So there's rails at the side or at the bottom, and you just half thread these nuts and put the wheelbase in and connect everything. It is super easy to install. The change of format from the DD1 brings some advantages, some disadvantages. It is smaller than the Podium DD1. It doesn't have the active cooling as the Podium DD1. So it is more standardized between all the Fanatec equipment, but it does come with, for me, with some issues. The aforementioned zinc alloy quick release is not here. And also, I did like that OLED screen. I know a lot of people probably don't like it, but I think Fanatec should do something with that OLED screen, bring it in more low-end wheels as well, because that OLED screen is super, super useful. Fanatec has also recently changed the software. It is, in its basics, a very focused approach in force-back customization with the addition of elements that before were in another program called Fanalabs. So everything is in the same place. You can customize your force feedback, you can change your profiles, you can change your LEDs and all of that stuff. It's nice and easy to use. However, it is an absolute resource hog. And I'm going in a tangent here because I'm from the time that started computing back in the early 90s. And you had 450 megabytes of hard drive, 540 if you were really, really lucky. And with that 540, you need to have the operating system, you know, DOS or Windows 95. You had your programs, not apps, and you also had your games and other programs that you needed. Everything needed to fit inside that small hard drive. This Fanatec application, not program, apparently, it's 1 gigabyte. I'm not targeting Fanatec specifically because I know everyone does this, and I also know that every sim racing company will be checking out the reviews of this wheelbase. So this message is for you all, and I'm going to ask the editor, which is myself, to do a dramatic zoom for effect. Stop doing this. It ain't that deep. Anyways, what applies to the Club Sport DD Plus in terms of force feedback customization will apply with the Podium DD with some tweaks on the power and in some places maybe a little more dampening. The profiles that are available at randomcallsign.com for the Club Sport DD Plus can be used with the Podium DD. You just need to change the power and in-game gain to suit your taste and avoid clipping all likes. Let's jump into the most important part of the review, which is usability of the Podium DD, and this was the part that was most complicated in the review process, especially in the context of Fanatec, because this wheelbase is incredibly similar to the Club Sport DD Plus that I've been using for the last 2 years. I've done a long-term review video of the Club Sport DD Plus just a few months back where I say that even though I have access to other wheelbases like Conspit, Acetec, C-Magic, whatever, I always come back to the Club Sport DD because it does everything well. There is not a game that I can say, well, it could be better. Everything is consistently good, no matter if it's PC or PlayStation, no matter what the type of the game is. It is constantly good. Generally, that is the thing with Fanatec. Just to my surprise, that this thing is incredibly similar to the Club Sport DD in terms of performance. Better in places, but with the Club Sport DD, and honestly with a lot of wheelbases at 15 Newton meters of torque, after a while, everything is just diminishing returns, especially if you can compare it to, you know, lower end versions, if you can consider the Club Sport DD Plus lower end. Hence, this was the most difficult part of the review process. However, compared to the Podium DD1, it is definitely a generational leap. When it comes to force feedback, this wheelbase delivers performance that is genuinely top tier. The clarity in low speed detail, the stability in mid-corner, and the communication of weight transfer all contribute to driving experience that is precise, readable, and engaging. There may be some competition that relies on artificial sharpness or every filtering to make it usable. This wheelbase presents a clean, natural signal that feels both fast and detailed, and all from interpolation or filter zero. Full Force is really only available in iRacing and Assetto Corsa Evo. There's also Project Motor Racing, but whatever. And I can say that in all sims, this wheelbase is absolute banging. With Assetto Corsa, the Podium delivers a very clean and readable force feedback experience. The steering weight builds smoothly as the front tires load up, making it easy to feel grip on entry corner or understanding how much the car is asking for the front axle. There is really no sense of artificial heaviness or exaggerated effects. Instead, the wheel communicates balance through subtle changes in resistance, and you can feel all of this no matter if you're driving GTs. I do a lot of toge in Assetto Corsa or even in drifting. This wheelbase just feels really, really natural. The same clarity will also transfer to Assetto Corsa Evo and Assetto Corsa Rally, but here your mileage may vary because some of you do not like the force feedbacks of those games. But what is force feedback related to the wheelbase? In both of these games, you feel it really, really well. You feel the details, you feel the compressions, you feel the movement of the car in a way that is really good. For Assetto Corsa Rally, what I would recommend, even if you're not using this or any Fanatec wheelbase, is that you change your steering wheel rotation to match the maximum wheel rotation of the game. So that's 1350, even if you have cars that do only 480, match it in game and match it in also in your software, and then it stops compressing so much the force feedback. That helped me a lot with the Assetto Corsa Rally. But in both of these games, you feel naturally, you feel the loss of grip, everything is so fast and so direct, and there is ever so more sharpness or detail from the Club Sport DD Plus. But if it matters or not for the price difference, which is 100 euros, well, I don't know. With iRacing and Le Mans, it really builds on that sense of stability. The performance is solid, and all the details, the changes of directions and perception, loss of detail when you have some sorts of slides, everything is available. Not that makes me any faster, mind you, it doesn't really matter, but all the details are there. And with iRacing, it does feel numb without the full force, though. It's really funny, but don't really overdo full force, otherwise it's just gonna feel effects everywhere. With Le Mans specifically, this wheelbase, in my opinion, is side to side with the Conspit Ares Platinum. The Platinum adds a little more stability and resistance in the center, while the Podium wants to be more raw, like it tries to do with Assetto Corsa Competizione, with that brutality that I quite enjoy. There's different philosophies at work here, but both of them achieve good results. And this is where I say the Podium DD picks up where the Club Sport DD Plus left and, turns it up to 11. The changes exist, but the overall experience is familiar. It's the same as the Conspit lineup. The extra speed is there, that picks up on more details, more range. The strength is there, allowing to lower the gain and bring extra dynamic range. But overall, there is not a night and day difference. It's more refined, it is faster, it is stronger, it gives you more impacts on high impact areas, and you do feel that is a more refined product. We have to go to the conclusions then. The obvious and not so obvious. For the Podium DD, you cannot really talk about it without the context of what is Fanatec and what is non-Fanatec. The Podium DD shows how badly the Club Sport DD is priced. At 799, that 12 Newton wheelbase needs to be cut at least 200 euros to make it more competitive and actually to make sense to buy it, because for extra 300s, you have something that is twice the torque and no PlayStation compatibility, just like the Club Sport DD. And then the Club Sport DD Plus, you have to remember, it is expensive for a 15mm wheelbase, but it does have the PlayStation compatibility. So the Podium DD, speaking in what is the Fanatec context and what is not the Fanatec context, it ends up being quite well priced. It's not aggressively priced like the Moto R25. The Moto R25 seems to have at this moment some issues with firmware and force feedback, but other wheelbases around this price as well don't seem to have that issue. VNM, it's very well priced for the torque and does have pass-through. And then you have the Invictas and the Semi-Cubes, which are more expensive. And soon enough, there will be also the Simagic Ultimate 25mm that will be cool to compare against this. What Fanatec seems to be doing here is pricing the wheelbase as an average of sorts, and then letting the ecosystem do the sales, drive the sales for them, which is commendable, but you have to also say that some of the ecosystem that they have needs to be refreshed. Some of it is lacking, and maybe in the long run it will work better. It may work. There's limitations in their ecosystem. There's no USB pass-through. It's kind of expensive if you want to keep it on your ecosystem, if you want to use third-party wheels, unless you go to Semi-Cube. Link in affiliate in the description. So there are some holes in that type of strategy, but what matters to me is the Club Sport DD Plus is an excellent wheelbase, and I had no problem replacing that wheelbase with this new one. This wheelbase does not heat up, it keeps cool even at high torque, everything works decently, you don't need to do any extra crazy stuff on your setup to make it work without, noises or something like that happened in other wheelbases. Everything just works, and for the foreseeable future, unless a SimLab or Simagic does bring something like really, really crazily good, this will be keeping in my sim rig. I guess I'll be doing a long-term review in 2 years for this one. If you enjoyed this video, press like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments what you think of this.